Thanks for staying with us. Now, the declaration of the Administrative Adjudication of Road Traffic Offences, and also known as the AARTO Act, the declaration that it is valid and constitutionally sound, has led to some mixed reaction, as well as some of the questions from our viewers as well. And some say that this is not the way that the country should be tackling its troubles when it comes to safety on the roads, and also to try and reduce fatalities as well as improve road safety. But others are saying that this is necessary to ensure that motorists are held to account and also obey the rules of the road. So we've told you, of course, what this AARTO Act could mean for you as a motorist, but a lot of questions around when does it come into effect, what happens now in this particular regard, and let's try and get some answers for you now. The Deputy Minister of Transport, Lisa Mangcu, joins us live now. Deputy Mangcu, thank you so much for your time this evening. Some viewers have been asking that when does the AARTO Act actually come into full effect? Is it in full effect? Can they now face demerits? What's going on?
Thank you very much, Bongiwe, to you and to your viewers. Well, firstly, we need to welcome the outcome of the Constitutional Court, as we held a strong view that all due processes were followed and that this is constitutional. So that we have crossed over now. What we are seized with now is rolling out, because having had this stalemate, we had to hold back, but now we are moving full steam. The question is, when will it be fully implemented? We are looking at February 2024. February 2024. What is it that we'll be doing in between? We'll be making sure that we promulgate the act. Remember, we couldn't, and that has to be done by the president, to make sure that he signs it into effectiveness. We also, in the meantime, have to produce regulations, because there is no act that can be implemented without the support of regulations. And there is also provision for a tribunal, which is a semi-juristic person that has to be put in place. Those things we are putting in place, amongst many other things, in the time up to February.
So, Deputy Mangcu, what then would be the role of the tribunal? Because someone would want to know whether is it where they go to appeal some of the decisions, or what role do they play in this regard?
Thank you very much. Yes, that is partly correct. Number one, firstly, this act, we say it's an administrative adjudication of road traffic offences. It means we are removing the burden from the courts, which are seized with many other real criminal issues. So if Bongiwe receives a notice now that you have infringed, you have an opportunity to pay it quickly within time, or you've got an opportunity to make what we call is a representation. In other words, you are saying, I do not agree that I committed this offense. And that is done administratively, not by the tribunal. Now, once you get that, that will be done by what we call representation officers. So if Bongiwe is not happy with that outcome, she then can take the matter up with the appeals tribunal to say, I'm not happy with the outcome of my appeal. So they then have to be sitting outside the agency itself that would have administered this process, so that it could be as independent and as objective as possible. So yes, you do that appeal when you are not satisfied with an outcome of your presentation.
So one of our viewers, Silo Moon, sent us this question on Twitter as soon as they saw that we're about to speak to you, and says, please don't forget to ask the Deputy Minister if they're going to scrap traffic fines that were issued before the bill was signed and were not prescribed under the AARTO rules and regulations.
No, there is no fine that is going to be scrapped. Remember, up until now, we have been piloting the AARTO Act, AARTO Act, in two metros, being Johannesburg and Tshwane. So any other offense that you would have picked up, written a ticket anywhere else, doesn't prescribe at all. You still got an obligation to pay it. in the current form as a criminal procedure process if you want to go to court. However, the limitations and prescription of time kicks in where you've got a AARTO infringement, which would say within a certain space of time. For instance, if you have made an appeal or a representation, you must receive an answer. So that is when the prescription comes. But currently, no. If you have an offense that you have not responded to, you are most likely going to get a warrant of arrest issued for you. And you don't want that to happen to yourself.
So there's something else that, of course, I'm sure you've seen as an argument that has been raised by some who are watching what happens on the roads. And they say that this particular approach is not the best way in order to deal with, reducing road carnage and ensuring that there's safety on our roads. There needs to be a different kind of implementation in order to ensure that you change driver behavior. How do you respond then to this criticism?
I think the criticism has got no merit, because I think it's very easy to sit out there and criticize whatever is being done. At the end of the day, some of these pieces of legislation would not be necessary if we had drivers that are behaving. AARTO must be seen as an incentive for people to behave, because they do not want to have points which are negative points against their name, which could ultimately lead to either a suspension or a total revocation or cancellation of a license. So if we were all going to abide by the law, do what is correct, there would be no debate about AARTO. Or a person who has never attracted a notice or any kind of infringement on the road has got nothing to worry, because that is the behavior we are promoting. Now, road safety is a multidisciplinary issue that we need to attend. There are engineering issues on it. There are education issues on it. There are obviously enforcement issues on it. And I deliberately put enforcement at the end, because it is not really what we want to go to as an immediate thing. But if there is no adherence to laws, enforcement must come in, the law must bite, and those who are repeat offenders must lose their driving licenses or get suspended and then get through a process to get their licenses back.
All right, Dr. Mangcu, thank you so much for your time. Let's see then what continues to unfold as you've now explained the steps that are going to be taken to ensure that this does come into effect. That is the Deputy Minister of Transport, Lisa Mangcu.